Hello, dear children. What's up? Learning. Keep it up. At the same time, stay fit, stay home, stay safe. Okay? Now, this is the story time. Today, we shall see one more short story, that is 1.3, title The Cock and the Anthem, author O. Henry, which is the pen name of William Sidney Porter. Now, before we turn to lesson or short story, let's know something about the writer or the author. William Sidney Porter, who born in North California in 1862. Children, did you know that he went to prison himself? He had embezzlement charges filed against him by a bank that he once worked for. He is famous for writing ironic short stories. This is one of his many short stories filled with irony. This story is based on a few themes. In this lesson, we will be touching on the themes of freedom and class. In this story, the main character, Soapy, is a vagabond and a person with criminal background. He makes different plans to re-enter the prison as he has no shelter to protect himself from the severe winter. The story ends in an unexpected way. The author has depicted Soapy's futile attempts to get arrested in a very humorous manner. The story begins with Soapy, a homeless man, sitting on a bench in Madison Square in New York. Here is the story. Soapy moved restlessly on his seat in Madison Square in New York. There are certain signs to show that winter is coming. Birds begin to fly south. Women who want nice new coats become very kind to their husbands. And Soapy moves restlessly on his seat in the park. When you see these signs, you know that winter is near. Dear children, a dead leaf fell at Soapy's feet. That was a special sign for him that winter was coming. It was time for all who lived in Madison Square to prepare. Soapy's mind now realized the fact. The time had come. He had to find some way to take care of himself during the cold weather, and therefore he moved restlessly on his seat. Soapy's hopes for the winter were not very high. He was not thinking of sailing away on a ship. He was not thinking of southern skies or of the Bay of Naples. 3 months in the prison on Blackwell's Island was what he wanted. 3 months of food every day and a bed every night. 3 months safe from the cold north wind and safe from cops. This seemed to Soapy the most desirable thing in the world. In short, at the beginning of the story, the author has depicted the scene of the beginning of winter season of New York City, or we may call at Madison Square. And the main character is introduced, that is Soapy, who is a vagabond or a person with criminal background who wishes that he want to go to prison for 3 months, and the name of the prison is Blackwell's Island. Dear children, let's continue. For years, Blackwell's Island had been his winter home. Richer New Yorkers made their large plans to go to Florida or to the shore of Mediterranean Sea each winter. Soapy made his small plans for going to the island. And the time had come. 3 big newspapers, some under his coat and some over his legs, had not kept him warm during the night in the park. So, Soapy was thinking of the island. Dear children, there were numerous hostels for the homeless which were run by charitable organizations, but Soapy does not like them. At the hostels, Soapy is forced to take baths and behave himself. They would make him answer questions. They would want to know everything about his life. So he much preferred prison, where he had relative freedom to do as he pleased. Therefore, for years, Blackwell's Island had been his winter home. Soapy planned to get arrested for a petty, that is trifle crime, so that he will receive a short prison sentence. Dear children, there were many easy ways of doing this. The most pleasant way was to go and have a good dinner at some fine restaurant. Then he would say that he had no money to pay, and then a cop would be called. The cop would arrest him. He would be taken to a judge, and the judge would do the rest. So Soapy left his seat and walked out of Madison Square to the place where the greatest street called Broadway and Fifth Avenue meet. He went across this wide space and started north on Broadway. He stopped at a large and brightly lighted restaurant. This was where the best food and the best people in the best clothes appeared every night. Soapy believed that above his legs he looked all right. His face was clean. His coat was good enough. If he could get to a table, he would believe that success would be his. The portion of him that would show above the table would look all right. The waiter would bring him what he asked for. He began to thinking of what he would like to eat. In his mind, he could see the whole dinner. Now here the writer has given what the dinner was. He wished to have a dinner with roasted mallard duck, bottle of wine, some cheese, cup of coffee and a cigar. The cost would not be too high. He did not the restaurant people to feel any real anger, but the dinner would leave him filled and happy for the journey of his winter home. But as Soapy put his foot inside the restaurant door, the head waiter saw his broken old shoes and the torn clothes that covered his legs. Strong and ready hands turned Soapy around and moved him quietly and quickly outside again. Soapy turned off Broadway. It seemed that this easy, most desirable way to the island was not to be his. Or we may say that his route to the island was not to be an easy one. He must think of some other way to getting there. So in short, in the first incident, Soapy, who tried to arrest himself doing such a thing so that the cop would arrest him and send him to the court, and the judge would allow him to go to the Blackwell's Island for 3 months. But in the first attempt, he became fail. Dear students, across the street was another restaurant. It was not so fine as the one on Broadway. The people who went there were not so rich. Its food was not so good. Into this, Soapy took his old shoes and his torn clothes, and no one stopped him. He sat down at the table and was soon eating a big dinner. When he had finished, he said that he had no money. "Get busy and call a cop," said Soapy. "And don't keep a gentleman waiting." "No cop for you," said the waiter. He called another waiter. The two waiters threw Soapy upon his left ear on the street outside. He stood up slowly and beat the dust from his clothes. Prison seemed only a happy dream. The island seemed very far away. A cop who was standing near laughed and walked away. Soapy traveled almost half a mile before he tried again. This time he felt certain that he would be successful. A very nice looking young woman was standing before a shop window looking at the object inside. Very near stood a large cop. Soapy's plan was to speak to the young woman. She seemed to be a very nice young lady who would not want a strange man to speak to her. She would ask the cop for help, and then Soapy would be happy to feel the cop's hand on his arm. He would be on his way to the island. He went near to her. He could see that the cop was already watching him. The young woman moved away a very few steps. Soapy followed. Standing beside her, he said, "Good evening, Belladea. Don't you want to come and play with me?" The cop was still looking. The young woman had only to move her hand and Soapy would be on his way to the place where he wanted to go. The young woman turned to him and took his arm. "Sure, Mike," she said joyfully, "if you will buy me something to drink." With the young woman holding his arm, Soapy walked to pass the cop. At the next corner, he pulled his arm away and ran. He was still free. When he stopped, he was near several theaters. In this part of the city, streets are brighter and hearts are more joyful than in other parts. Men and women in rich warm coats moved happily in the winter air. A sudden fear caught Soapy. No cop was going to arrest him. Then he came to another cop standing in front of a big theater. He thought of something else to try. He began to shout as if he had to drink too much. His voice was as loud as he could make it. He danced, he cried out. And the cop turned his back to Soapy and said to a man standing near him, "It is one of those college boys. He won't hurt anything. We had orders to let them shout." Now Soapy was quiet. Was no cop going to touch him? He began to think of the island as if it were as far away as heaven. He pulled his thin coat around him. The wind was very cold. Dear students, Soapy started walking again. Soapy saw a man smoking in a shop. His umbrella made of silk was kept outside the shop. Soapy took that umbrella and began to walk. That man followed Soapy and asked, "Why are you taking umbrella?" Soapy told him, "Go call the police. Tell the cop that I have stolen your umbrella." That man told Soapy, "I supposed it yours umbrella. I found it in a restaurant this morning. You might be right owner of this umbrella. Please forgive me and get your umbrella back." Soapy started walking towards the east. People were repairing the road. He threw that umbrella beside the road. He started thinking, why was he not considered as a wrong person? How would he go to the prison for shelter then? He was walking and walking, came to a place. He began to express his anger on cops. Am I worthless? Can't he commit a crime? Can't they be arrested? He thought, return to his place, that is, the park. Suddenly, he saw a church, an old church. He saw through the window the beautiful purple color light and an organist. A large musical instrument was being played inside the church. It seemed Sunday prayer practice was going on. Soapy was motivated. The tune was beautiful and melodious. It was pleasant to hear. Soapy became emotional. He stood still to hear the melody holding the iron frame of the fence. It was night. It was a moonlit night. No vehicle on the road. Very less people were around. A silent evening. Birds were also in the nest. Soapy became nostalgic. He began to recall all his past. He remembered his mother. He remembered his friends. He remembered the rose garden of his childhood. He had lots of hopes those days. He had dreams in his eyes for future. But now, where are those dreams? What is about his present life? Just a man with no hopes? Just a man with no self-respect? No aspiration? No self-dependent? Living for no cause? Just living and spending days? He felt very sad. He became hopeful and energetic having heard that beautiful melody. He became active. He thought of living with honor, self-respect and dignity. He thought of a young man like a self-disciplined person. The music motivated him. He thought of finding a job. He thought of going to the city next morning and meet the businessman who offered him a driver job. He thought of getting a meaningful life. Children, just that time someone caught hold of Soapy's hand and asked him, "What are you doing hanging around here?" asked the cop. "Nothing," said Soapy. "You think I believe that?" said the cop. Full of his new strength, Soapy began to argue, and it is not wise to anyone with a new cop. "Come along," said the cop. 3 months on the island, said the judge to Soapy the next morning. So dear students, this is an ironic ending. The story includes a setting in New York City. This story depicts the state of mind of an ordinary member in the society. In short, Soapy, who wanted to escape from the cold north wind, so he tried to get imprisonment on Blackwell's Island with futile attempts, but at the end, when he saw an old church, heard the beautiful and melodious tune, that pleasant atmosphere of the church, remembered his past. In short, when he decided to transform him within, at that time he was arrested by a cop and the court sentenced him 3 months jail on Blackwell's Island. So dear students, how was the story? Just go through it and find out the themes of freedom and class. So start reading now and see you very soon with another video. Till then, goodbye.